Welcome to Fractured Chaos.
You ever been gaslit with a smile? Like, you walk into a room with confidence, prepared, over-delivering for months, and then someone in a wrinkled button-down looks you dead in the eye and says, "You're just not leadership material." Yeah, that was the moment I realized my manager, Grant, wasn't incompetent by accident. He was doing it on purpose, with the precision of a Swiss watch and the soul of a parking meter. So I'd been at the company for 2 years, trained 3 people, one of whom now made more than me. Took over 2 roles after layoffs because apparently I was so capable. Never complained, never late. Hell, I even hosted that dumb virtual trivia night that nobody asked for, where Grant answered, "What's the capital of Australia?" with kangaroo. I should have known then. And when race season came around, Grant told me, with the emotional range of a tax form, now's not a good time to be asking for more. Meanwhile, he'd just approved 2 salary bumps for his golf buddies, one of whom thought SEO was a dating app. The other once asked me, in front of clients, if I could make the numbers more pink. Pink, like revenue had a gender preference. But the best part? He sent me the rejection email, copied the wrong Savannah. Turns out there were 3 Savannahs in the company. Savannah from accounting got my rejection. I got Savannah from legal's performance review. And Savannah from legal? She got a forwarded chain of emails that would make a sailor blush. I saw everything. That's when I started collecting. Not like a psycho, like a librarian with a grudge and excellent organizational skills. See, Grant had this adorable habit of BCCing himself on HR emails and forwarding them to a private Gmail account. Subject lines like "cover your ass" and "talk around DEI stuff." And my personal favorite, "Remember, legal said we can't say that anymore, LOL." He once wrote about a potential hire. "Let's make sure the next candidate looks the part. Less eyebrow ring, more corporate." You know what I mean. I read that one twice, saved it, forwarded it to myself, created a folder called the Grant List. It was growing faster than his bald spot. Then there was the time he described our Nigerian contractor as high maintenance for a remote worker, because the man had the audacity to request payment on time. Or when he called our new Black team member urban chic in a meeting like he was describing a furniture collection. But my absolute favorite was his analysis of our female employees. The problem with hiring women is they want to be treated like people. I screenshot that one in 4K. Then the company decided to rebrand. You know how these things go. Some consultant charged them 6 figures to discover that treating employees badly was off-brand. The new slogan, empowered voices, inclusive spaces. And Grant, they made him the face of the campaign. I'm not kidding. There he was on the internal website banner, arms folded, smiling like he'd just discovered fire. The same man who once asked our intern, in front of everyone, "Do you have a boyfriend?" 3 separate times, in one meeting. When she said no, he said, "Good, then you can work late." The man could barely pronounce intersectionality without his face contorting like he was passing a kidney stone. But there he was, poster boy for corporate enlightenment. That's when I decided Grant needed to meet his biggest fan, consequences. So here's what I did. I crafted an anonymous email, no sender name, VPN protected, fake IP bouncing through Idaho like a corporate ping pong ball. I attached a carefully curated folder of his worst hits, time-stamped, threaded, with context so clear even HR couldn't pretend to misunderstand. The subject line? Empowered voices, starting with mine. Poetic, right? It was risky. If they traced it back, I was gone faster than free donuts in the break room. But honestly, I was done being scared of mediocre men with job titles they didn't earn and personality disorders they refused to acknowledge. The response was immediate. First came the quiet internal meetings. You know the kind, where executives huddle in glass conference rooms looking like they're planning a funeral. Then Grant's calendar started having mysterious gaps. His usual one-to-ones got postponed. His door is always open became door is surprisingly locked with a hastily written post-it note. By Wednesday, he was sweating through his shirts like a politician during audit season. Thursday brought the Slack message, "Can we reschedule our one-to-one indefinitely?" Friday morning, his office was cleared. Nameplate gone. Personal photos vanished. It had wiped his laptop so clean it probably forgot its own operating system. No memo, no goodbye email, no farewell party with sad sheet cake. Just a rumor floating through the office like a blessed breeze. Grant violated internal conduct policy. You could almost hear the collective sigh of relief echo through the 4th floor. It was like someone had finally opened a window in a room full of farts. But I wasn't done. not even close. Because they tried to bury it, HR put out one of those generic messages about organizational restructuring and exciting new directions. One VP even wrote, "We thank Grant for his contributions to our team." Contributions like asking our pregnant coworker if she was planning to be one of those career moms and suggesting we celebrate Women's History Month with a bake sale. So I sent another anonymous tip. This time, I included just one line from one of Grant's messages. No context, no explanation. Just, "Don't forget to delete this before HR does their audit. Haha. PS Legal is asking too many questions about the intern thing." They knew someone was watching, and now they were scared. Because here's the thing about corporate bullies. They're only brave when they think nobody's keeping score. A week later, I got a message from HR. Direct message. No calendar invitation, no warning. "Savannah, do you have time to talk today?" No subject line, no professional pleasantries, no emoji to soften the blow. I thought, this is it. They traced the emails. They know it was me. I walked into that room ready to lie through my teeth with the confidence of a politician at a press conference. But instead of accusations, they offered me something unexpected. Grant's job. I stared at them for a full 10 seconds. The kind of silence that makes people uncomfortable enough to start explaining themselves. "We think you'd be perfect for the role," the HR director said, clearly mistaking my shock for enthusiasm. "You know the team, you understand the processes, and frankly, we need someone we can trust." Trust. That's rich. Coming from the people who let Grant terrorize half the office for 2 years. I turned it down. Told them I was exploring other opportunities and looking for new challenges. Corporate talk for, "I'd rather eat glass than clean up your mess." Why did I turn it down? Because I'd already forwarded Grant's emails to 3 other women he'd tried to sabotage. Sarah from Product, who he'd blocked from the leadership track because she was too emotional. She cried once when her grandfather died. Jessica from Operations, who he'd passed over for promotion because she was distracted by her personal life. She was planning her wedding. And Maria from Customer Success, who he'd written off as not strategic enough. She spoke 3 languages and had an MBA from Wharton. Sarah just got promoted to director. Jessica landed a VP role at a competitor. And Maria? She's starting her own consulting firm, taking 3 of our biggest clients with her. See, I didn't just burn the bridge. I handed everyone else the matches and taught them proper fire safety. Grant didn't just lose his job, he lost his reputation, his network, his influence, his ability to torpedo other people's careers for sport. And the company? They had to explain to the board why their Empowered Voices campaign poster boy was suddenly persona non grata. They had to justify why they'd promoted someone with a documented history of discrimination. They had to answer some very uncomfortable questions about their hiring and promotion practices. The ripple effects were magnificent. They hired a new chief diversity officer. They implemented mandatory bias training. They created an anonymous reporting system with actual consequences. They started doing exit interviews that weren't just HR checking boxes. But my favorite change? They made it policy that all internal communications are subject to random audit. Grant's replacement is a woman named Dr. Patricia Williams. She has a PhD in organizational psychology and the kind of backbone that makes you stand up straighter just being around her. She's increased our team's productivity by 40% and hasn't asked anyone about their dating life even once. Imagine that. The last I heard about Grant, he was consulting for his brother-in-law's small business, teaching them about human resources optimization. I give it 6 months before that implodes too, because here's what Grant never understood. Competence leaves a paper trail, so does incompetence. The difference is, one gets you promoted and the other gets you anonymous emails from Idaho. 6 months later, I got a LinkedIn message from someone named Jennifer. She'd heard about what happened at my old company and wanted advice. Apparently, her manager was exactly like Grant. I sent her a very simple response. Document everything. Trust the process. And remember, the best revenge is letting people reveal exactly who they are. She sent me a follow-up 3 weeks later. Just one word. Done. Moral of the story? Always write your emails like they'll be read in a courtroom. Never underestimate the quiet woman with organizational skills and a functioning moral compass. And remember, we don't raise our voice. We raise the stakes. Because the thing about receipts is they never expire. They just accumulate interest.